And so there's also a company Zoom going on right now, and I scheduled this at 9 p.m. Eastern time on Monday, so I'm not going to move my Zoom no matter what's going on, because this Zoom has kind of become like it's a bedrock. And Jose, if you could watch for when Pete Delmonico comes into the chat, just he's going to pop in here probably in the next like 20 or 30 minutes. So I am going to bring a guest on that I've got, this good friend of mine that I want to introduce everybody to. His name's Pete, and I told him to come on maybe 20 or 30 minutes in to tonight's training. And so tonight I'm going to do a little bit of generic training in the sense that I want to show you how to do network marketing a little bit better. I want to show you how to do recruiting a little bit better. And I'm going to carry on a little bit from last week, but I think that I need to go into more nuts and bolts this week. And then when he comes on, I'm going to introduce you to my pal Pete, that has been a good friend of mine actually for quite a long time. And he's going to talk to you about maybe something a little bit more specific to what we're doing. So when he comes on, I'll probably switch over there and go on my computer and listen as well. And so let's talk a little bit about how to do network marketing from more of a nuts and bolts kind of perspective. And then I want to get into what we were missing, what we were carrying on from the other week. And I want to talk to you about how to kind of build a little bit in stepping stones. Okay, so how to do network marketing. So this is number 3 in this video series, right? And I'll just say network marketing, NWM, and we're going to call this like nuts and bolts. Okay, so network marketing, nuts and bolts, right? So let me explain it like this. Okay, so network marketing has only a few things that you do. Okay, so this is the one I'm looking at over here, right? Okay, so cool. So network marketing only has a few things that we do, and if you focus on doing those 3 things make you money. And if you focus outside of those things, then the amount of money that you make essentially goes down. Okay, so the 3 things that we do: number 1, we sell product, right? Number 2, we recruit people. Now, we also tell everybody in the group to do these 2 things. Okay, so we recruit people and we tell them to recruit people and sell product. And then the third thing is we develop leaders, right? These are the only things that make money. So these 3 things, they make money, right? If you're doing anything other than these 3 things, you're not probably going to make very much money. Actually, you really only make money in a good network marketing company. You make money from product being sold, okay? So if you're recruiting people but no product is being sold, then you also don't make any money, right? Does that make sense? So if you're developing leaders, what you're doing is you're developing people who recruit people, who sell product, and who teach people how to recruit people and sell product, and so on, essentially in a never-ending chain, if you will. Although I don't want to call it, a chain letter or something like that. But these 3 things are the essence and the building block of all of the money that you're going to make in network marketing. So if you are doing anything at all and it is not resulting in one of these 3 things, you can pretty much guarantee that in a network marketing business, it is a waste of your time, energy, and effort, right? And money, probably your waste of your money too. So all you have to do, if you're looking at the sum total of your activities and you just ask yourself, am I on the right track? Is you got to ask yourself, is what I'm doing resulting in product being sold? Number 1. Is it resulting in recruiting new people who are going to sell product? Number 2. Or is it developing leaders that are inside of the organization who are going to sell products to recruit people to sell products? Okay. If the answer is to what you're doing, like, for example, no, it's not selling product, it's not recruiting people to sell product, and it's not developing leaders who are going to recruit people to sell product, it's a waste of your time. And by a waste of your time, I mean it's not going to put any money in your pocket at the end of the day, at the end of the week, at the end of the month. And usually if something is not working on an immediate basis, it won't work on a weekly basis. Usually if something is not going to work on a weekly basis, it won't work on a monthly basis. And if something's not working on a monthly basis, it's also not going to work on a yearly basis, right? So if what you're doing is not creating results in the first 24 hours, in the first 72 hours, in the first week, the chances are if you continue to do it for an extended period of time, it's also not going to work, because things either work very quickly or they don't work at all, right? And this is something that I think is really good to get into the nuts and bolts of what actually you need to be doing if you want to make money. Is you want to be referring people in who both buy product, sell product, right, and develop leaders. Does it make sense? So this is just going back to basic stuff. What can you do that will result in these three things? Now, that is the question, right? It's a question that I want to spend a little bit of time talking about right now, okay? Because if you do these things, you're going to be able to make money. And you're not going to make money in one thing. You'll make money basically in everything that you do. Now, how much money that you make is going to depend on how well you do these things, right? How little you make is going to be a result of how badly you do these things, right? So if you do these things, number one, you have to do them well. And number two, you got to do them consistently enough to be able to produce a consistent result, right? So you ready? So a few things that you can do that will result in sales and recruiting. So when you start, this is a key distinction as well, right? So there's when you've been building for a while, and then there's when you start. When you're starting to build a business, right, you don't have any developing leaders going on. There's nobody to develop, right? If you're just starting, let's say it's your first 24 hours, or your first 72 hours, or your first week, there's no leaders to develop because it's just you, right? So we're going to go back to that for just a moment. So what do you do when you're brand new? What do you do when you're starting? Well, there's only a few things that you can do that will create the result of products being sold and people being recruited, right? And they are, number one, things that will build influence, because building influence leads to thing number two. That's why. Building influence in and of itself doesn't sell products. Building influence leads to an environment that products can be sold, right? So building influence with who? Building influence with a target audience, right? So a target audience are people, right, who are, we'll just say, likely to respond by buying something, right? Or referring people. We could say, or referring others, right? That's a target audience. Now, how do you know who's likely to respond? Well, it's people that respond to that kind of offer, right? So, for example, you don't want to go. There's an old saying that says, "Don't try to sell steak to a vegetarian," right? So, if someone's vegetarian, like I was just talking to this chick on Facebook who's always posting because she said something that was not true, right? So I went into the comments. I was like, actually, that's not accurate. And not that she cared to hear that. This isn't necessarily a good like social media strategy, is to go argue with people about all the things they're inaccurate about, because most of us are inaccurate about like half the things we say, right? But anyway, so I went and she's a vegan person, right? Now I'm vegetarian, right? And she called me like, I'm like a descended ape to her, because I'm not vegan, or whatever. So I was, she was saying Jesus was a vegan. And I was like, Jesus is not a vegan, right? That is not true, right? That's just like you eat fish, right? Like you got to read what you're talking about. That's actually not accurate. She's like, Jesus, the true Jesus was a vegan. And I was like, all right. I'm out of this conversation, right? So anyway, a vegan is not the right person to sell steak to, right? They're vegan, right? So if you have a vegan and they're like hardcore vegan, they don't like human beings who eat meat, right? if you have an offer for them, it shouldn't be like rotisserie steak or rotisserie chicken, excuse me. Like rotisserie chicken is not the best thing to sell to a vegan, right? You'd sell something to a vegan that they want to buy, right? So the key to understanding like who your target audience is, it's who are the people that are likely to respond by buying something or referring others to your product or service, right? That's a target audience. So it's building influence not with anybody, it's building influence with your target audience, right? And if you don't build influence with your target audience, then you're going to have a problem selling things because you're building influence with somebody that's not likely to respond by buying something from you. Now, this distinction is it's the key between struggling to get by and making sales constantly all the time for whatever it is that you're building. If you're building influence with the wrong people, it doesn't matter if you've got the best steak in the world, right? It's irrelevant if you're trying to sell it to a vegetarian because they're just not interested, right? That makes sense? So you want to find the targeted audience of the targeted group of people that want already what it is that you have to offer them. So that's key number one, okay? Very important distinctions that I just gave you. Now, key number two, right, is to build a list from those people, right? To build a list. Now, there's new school lists, there's old school lists, right? So old school list is, you go to networking events, you go to Toastmasters clubs, you go to volunteer events like, Rotary Club and things. This is old school influence, right? Old school influence is still very powerful. Actually, I think still the most powerful kind of influence is very tightly wound, tightly connected. Tightly wound isn't the right word, but tightly connected local influence. Tell me if Pete comes on, okay? So just if he comes on, just let me know, right? So very connected, locally built influence. There's always something powerful about it. And the reason why it's powerful is because not a lot of people invest into that anymore. And also you get to shake hands, give people a hug, etc. So locally built, very connected, interconnected influence where, you're serving together. For example, you're serving together in a church, etc. Right? This kind of influence is special because this is where your real best friends are going to always emerge from, is people that are very connected to you. It's very rare that you meet and you develop your best friends on the internet. Some of my best friends I actually have built on the internet. So it's not like that never happens. It's just that like most of the best friend, most connected people that you're ever around are people that you're working with on a local basis, right? So there's something powerful about that, right? That's old school. Old school is like you're going to Rotary and you're going to networking events, etc. And then you're taking people's contact info and then you're getting referrals and you're putting them on an actual list. Now, new school influence is you're building influence and you're putting people on internet lists. Now, internet lists are things like your Facebook account, right? It's like having your friends list. Your friends list is a gold mine, right? But only if your friends list is people that are likely to respond by buying something or referring others to what it is that you do, right? So you want to be building influence with people that are involved in your niche, right? So if you're doing network marketing, who are some people to build influence with? Other people that are involved in and building network marketing, right? Because those are the people that are inside your target market. And if you get involved in their spheres of influence, you're going to begin to attract the people that they know, right? And that niche knows how to move a lot of people and they know how to refer people to you and they're going to like and share your content if you're talking about that kind of business and products, okay? So build a list. Now, what are the various kinds of lists? Facebook account, Instagram account, Twitter account, YouTube account. The most powerful of them all would be an email and an SMS list, right? Like email and phone list, really, right? Those are the most powerful. So what you want to do is you want to build influence mostly and a list, but the list is less powerful per se on social media. And it's not less powerful, it's just you don't have as much control, if that makes sense. And then you want to take that list and you want to get this list off of social media, right? So off social media is like, this is like they're opting in to your list, right? And the most powerful kinds, right, are going to be email and SMS, right? Those are the most powerful kinds of lists to build. Why? Because if you have an email, you can communicate with them outside of social media, and you can do that with a lot more people than you could do on social media. Right now, I shouldn't say that because social media can get quite huge, but social media in a network marketing arena is not going to usually get very huge, right? It's usually going to be kind of a tight-knit group of people. Your email list, you can build that to 1,000 people, 5,000 people, 10,000 people, 30,000 people, 100,000 people. And what happens is that it takes no more time to communicate with 500 people as it does with one person if you have an email list. It takes no more time to communicate with 100,000 or 1,000,000 people as it does with 5 people, right? So if you ever wonder, like, how do people get involved in a network marketing company and they bring in like 32 people or 35 people or 50 people or 100 people like this? It's because they have a developed list that they have on and off social media of people that are likely to respond to buying their products and services in their target audience. And then when it's time to promote something, when it's time to join something, right, they can slam a lot of people into it because they have the pre-existing, pre-built influence, right? So I'll give you another example. If you work in medicine full-time, and you're a doctor, you have a sphere of influence that's built around medicine. The sphere of influence that's built around medicine may or may not be interested in building a side business in network marketing. You don't really know unless you reach out and contact them. It is a sphere of influence, but it may or may not be a very targeted market for building an opportunity type business. And actually a lot of doctors, they are involved in network marketing. My point with that, though, is they're not necessarily a group of people that you know for sure are going to respond by pulling out their credit card. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice here. And do network marketing with you. They might do it, and they might not do it. Does that make sense? So the key is build influence. Then you want to build a list that you control of people that are in your actual target market for what it is that you're specifically doing. Okay. Then, right, you want to move that list to an offer, right? And that offer needs to be a presentation that effectively involves people into the network marketing business, right? In some kind of predictable ratio. So you have this influence, you've built a list that's more responsive, right? I was looking at the wrong camera there. And then you're taking that list and you're saying, I want you to take a look at this presentation. This is the simple explanation for what you're doing is you're moving people into a funnel. That presentation then sells the opportunity for you and has a link to join, right? Now, specifically, if you're a leader and you've developed a relationship with your list, what you want to do is you want to put an intermediate step before this offer or presentation normally, and this is your personal recommendation, right? Your personal recommendation, right? And this could come in the form of what we call a bridge page, right? So it depends on how you're communicating. If you're communicating with people one-on-one, you don't really need a bridge page. The reason you don't need a bridge page is because you're talking to them and you're giving them the reason why they should look at the presentation, for example, on the phone, in a Facebook conversation. If you're talking to somebody, for example, on the phone, if you give somebody a call, if you have a conversation with someone, you don't need to send somebody to a bridge page to an opportunity presentation because you just did the bridge page in the conversation. It's unnecessary. It just is a wasted time, right? But if you're not personally communicating with people and you're taking an email list and you're emailing them to a company presentation, you want to email them to a personal recommendation that then tells them why they should watch the company presentation from you, right? So he's on here. All right. So that being said, that was some background training. You guys know that I've been promoting Save Club. We've got Pete Delmonico on here, and Pete is he's a great friend of mine, and so um, I'm going to pop over here too. But Pete, do you want to come out?
Absolutely. I didn't know anything about this world. I just was just blown away by this speech that Dave gave. He gave me a hug, walked me out to my car, and and he said, "You're going to come to Atlanta, right?" And I said, "Why would I go to Atlanta?" He said, "Well, we're going to have an event." And I said, "Okay." And he said, "Well, do you know anybody in Atlanta?" And I said, "Well, yeah, my grandfather's there in the VA hospital." And he said, "Well, don't you want to see your grandpa?" And I said, "Well, I guess." Anyway, he kind of NLP'd me, and I ended up going to the event, and it changed my life. And I was a realtor at the time, doing really well. And I actually went down there with an attitude because I had a six-figure month in real estate. And our mutual friend of ours, Tony, said, but that's not residual. And sure enough, the following month, I made zero because that's how real estate works. And our friend Tony went on to make a bunch of money, and it kind of hit me. Oh my God, I need to be in this industry. So thank you, Dave. You definitely started me on my journey. I had a great time at your company, learned a lot. It was really a blessing. And Dave and I have worked together a couple times over the years. So Save Club is something that I heard about a little while back. My company that I had worked at for 10 years, I built up a team of about 300,000 people. They unfortunately, for me, fortunate for them maybe, sold to a big company, Herbalife. And my friend reached out to me and just, seeing if I was okay, about how I was handling it. And he mentioned that he was going to launch something. And I said, he lives in Vegas. And I said, oh my God, I'm going to be in Vegas coincidentally at that time to go see some of those, that big bubble, the Sphere, go see some Grateful Dead shows. So we met up, spent about 4 days together, and I just fell in love with the idea. It really alleviated a lot of my stress that I was having about, my 10 years of hard work kind of vanishing on me. And I've got a whole new, just excitement about the industry and everything. I was actually looking for about a year at different digital marketing and stuff, thinking, how can I make money? And network marketing was kind of, in a weird space. But what I realized, and a lot of other people realize, is they love network marketing because you're team building, you're building a residual, you're doing something that you can have a future with. And a lot of these other things they're just glorified sales jobs, really. You wake up unemployed every day, and it's kind of depressing to not make sales. I like to make sales, so Save Club is not an expensive proposition. So you can really get up and you can make a sale, couple sales every day, and it's kind of good for your psyche. It's good dopamine and stuff like that to have a little bit of success, and it can keep adding and adding and adding up. And then you come across people like Dave who have a little bit of free time, it's in between projects or whatever, and he said, "Yeah, I'd love to help you." And so things like that are just, I just love it, man. We've only been doing it for 1 week. Like Dave said, we got off to a really, really good start. I probably have a couple thousand people already. And I just feel this amazing excitement about it. And the thing is, I knew that the CEO was really committed to the product. He doesn't talk about making money. He doesn't talk about doing this or that with the impact of commissions. He talks more about, oh my God, I just inked this deal with the European cashback thing. I just inked this deal with a big, big box Sephora or whatever, company he's talking to. He went to a seminar for a whole week and learned and became an expert at all these different things. And instead of white labeling or doing third party, we're literally making direct deals with big companies so that the cash back and the discounts come right to us. He can share it with the members. And we even have the potential of making overrides and stuff by sharing that. And even if we give it away. So there's a lot of cool stuff we're going to do. I'm super duper excited about it. And I really love the idea as saving money as a product, and part of that is travel, of course, saving money on travel. But I don't think there's enough margins to really run a travel deal as the forefront. So that's one of our services. Shopping's a big service. Restaurants are a big service. We're employing some really cool technology, such as like card linking. And what card linking means is that I put my debit card in the back of Save Club, And then anywhere I shop or go to a restaurant or whatever, I don't have to show a coupon. I don't have to upload a receipt. I don't need to get permission from anyone. It automatically is going to kick back that discount or that cash back to me without anybody even knowing. You know, maybe I'm on a date. Maybe I don't want my date to know that that I'm using a coupon or what have you. And it allows you to just, gather that and garnish that cash back, and it adds up and it adds up. And that way you can go out to dinner once more that month. You can go on that extra vacation. You can do more things. You can have more fun. And people like to have fun even in a recession. The other thing I love is with all the tariffs, whichever side you're on, if you like tariffs, you don't like tariffs, we all know that they're going to affect things in the near future and maybe for a while. With a digital product, with a digital service, we're not affected by that whatsoever, because we're crossing borders and helping people without a physical product, without a logistical, having to send it here and have it there and being affected by customs and stuff like that. So I love digital products. I think those are the wave of the future. That also allows us to pay out over 80% of the money that comes in out in commissions because we don't have that overhead of a warehouse, of stocking stuff, shipping stuff, returns, all the different things that are involved in a physical product. So there's just so many things I love about this. About 10 years ago, I started paying attention to the space, and I've tried to find the perfect scenario, and nothing's perfect, but the commitment that Charles has, the timing that's involved with inflation, people are all debating egg prices and stuff like that. So it's on everybody's mind. Even very rich people want to save money, and so I think the timing couldn't be better. I think network marketing is, going through a little bit of a weird thing with a lot of the product companies going under and just all of a sudden things like what happened to me, I never expected that. And I feel like, we're all at the beginning of this. Again, it's only been around for 1 week, and I feel like we can do great things together. And of course, there's going to be some speed bumps along the way and some challenges, but I've known the guys behind this for more than a dozen years. I've been friends with one of them. Just we would go on ski trips and things like that, and I always thought very highly of him. And then one of the other business partners is a very successful guy. So it's almost like we're starting a new store, but it's really Walmart because this system and this procedure that they're taking to roll it out and to pay commissions and everything has been perfected over the last 20 years. And again, it's not perfect, but we're in 150 countries already. We can do like 15, 20 different cryptos. So instead of having to do all these, everybody wants more crypto and, it's a big thing in our space. But instead of having to do these scams and taking all these chances, you can just build up crypto by working hard in a traditional network marketing company like ours. And then you can get paid in Bitcoin and people can join Bitcoin and stuff like that. So it kind of accomplishes a whole bunch of different things. You can go out the door and save money. You can use the paycheck to get more Bitcoin if you want, or Litecoin or XRP or whatever you like. And then you can share with people. You can feel good. You're not going to hurt anybody. It's a low ticket item. It's only $80 to join, $20 a month. The most people can even pay is, if they want to pay for the whole year up front, it's still a low ticket item. So I like that. I don't want anybody to get into a pickle to join things or feel like they can't join things because they're too expensive. We've all been there. We've all wanted to do things, and it's like, maybe I can do it, but a lot of the people I know, they just can't swing it right now. I haven't had anybody tell me they can't do this because of finances. I haven't had anybody not understand what we're doing, and I haven't had anybody tell me they don't want to save money. So it's a lot of fun, Dave.
Yeah, no worries. So, like, if somebody was just getting started and you were like, "Well, let's help you get your first 10 people," right? What advice would you give people? If, like, let's say they're getting started today and
social media is really powerful.
Yeah, okay, go on.
I would say social media is very powerful for most people. You can put a post up. We're already providing reels for you, done for you reels. We've got done for you graphics. We've got an AI service that's producing all kinds of content for us. I got a huge file of stuff last night. So I would say step one, if you don't have an email list or you don't feel like you have a lot of influence, just go out there and post. Do you like TikTok? Do you like LinkedIn? Do you like Instagram? Do you like Facebook? Do you like Pinterest? Whatever you like, go out there and post. Nobody's heard of this. Everybody understands what it is. Just on the word Save Club, it's pretty self-explanatory, and they'll probably pay attention. So That's how I was able to go out and get, 10 people right away. It's just I just made a couple posts, hit up a couple people that I like to work with, and like Dave, obviously, hit up a couple people that I think, think a lot of, and I respect their opinion, and I got a really good positive feedback from everybody. People were just like, yeah, I'm actually doing another MLM, but that doesn't affect the fact that I want to save money, and that's what I'm hearing back. So really good response from people. But if you have an email list, obviously, write a couple emails. The company's going to assist in that. Dave's obviously an expert at it. You can use ChatGPT. ChatGPT will write, incredible copy for you anytime you want. Just go in there. It's free. Boom, 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 and get good at that. And that'll, help you plan out your week and stuff like that. And I haven't even gotten that far. I've just been sharing some cool pictures and little videos and stuff like that too. So we have
Yeah, it's pretty simple. I mean, just share. So just share on social media. As far as email marketing goes, I mean, this is just reality. Is that ChatGPT writes emails better than almost everyone, unless they're like an expert at writing emails. And so, like, if you don't have like extensive copywriting background, I mean, ChatGPT will write better emails for you than you'll write for yourself, right? So I at the moment I can write emails better than ChatGPT, and I still use it probably 30 or 40% of the time. Because I'm just in a hurry and I don't feel like writing an email, or I need to write a quick series. And so, some tricks, if you do want good emails from ChatGPT, is you can take, for example, transcriptions of a company presentation and put it into ChatGPT and say, write me a 7 email autoresponder series promoting this company. And it'll just, spit out one after the other. But I give it personalities. It's like, write it in the style of Russell Brunson, write it in the style of Frank Kern. And it knows these people, so it will create copy like these people, And so anyway, go on, Pete. So basically, what you're saying is that the simple way to promote, if somebody's brand new, is to just promote on social media.
Yeah, just share that you're excited about something, and again, because it's such a simple concept, saving money. Almost everybody's going to relate. It's not some, you have to do this and jump through that and do that. It's very simple. Everybody likes the idea. And then the website's already made for you. You don't have to build anything. There's already a tour that people can go on. And then the company will not only do follow-up, but, feel free to do some follow-up on your own. That's what I do. And, a lot of people will want to join. They really will. Especially people like new things. They like new launches and stuff like that. And like I said, the industry is in kind of a weird space right now, where people are a little bit nervous about product companies because they see a lot of them going under and not sticking around. And that's why we have kind of a different idea. So I think we're going to do really well. I think we're going to put 1 million people in this in the first year. I really do. The response has been great already. Again, it's only been a week, but I can just tell that people really like what they're seeing here. Now, do we have to deliver on the back end and make sure that we give lots and lots of value? Absolutely. Do I feel like we're going to? Yeah, because I've known Charles, the CEO, for a long time, and I just know the person he is, just a relentless hard worker like Dave, and it's just an honor to be just to be around these people. So it's fun. Launching is fun. I think that's my new favorite thing, and a lot of people, they only like to work with established companies and everything. But let's be honest, it's way harder to do something that's been around when people have heard of it. It just is. I mean, launching stuff is just so much easier, Yeah, you got to try to make an educated guess. Is this worth my time? Is this really going to be around? And so you should definitely do that. But I think we made a really good choice here. I really do. I feel 100% confident.
Okay, cool. Well, let's just do one more thing here, Pete, because I know you're busy. You got to go. But does anybody here have questions that you'd like to ask Pete while he's on? I don't have any questions, but if you have any questions, this would be a great time.
Yeah, it's a really basic question. On when you log into your back office, should we use for the social media post? And I understand the ChatGPT, you can to have it help you write a post. Should we use the link with the website or the landing page one?
I like the tour better. So the landing page is good if somebody's just like, hey, I want to join. You don't have to convince me, I'm in. Then you can just send them the saveclub.com/your username. If it's somebody that you're trying to kind of cultivate, I would send them the tour just because there's a little more information. it kind of brings them along a little bit, and it's a little bit more user friendly. It's not just a form that you fill out. So yeah, I would use the tour in most cases, unless
No,
it's
that-
just like I'm in, Mike. Is that what you mean?
No, I'm just not sure that I know what you're talking about. So there's two websites. There's a Save Club site, and then there's a Powerline landing page website. Which one are you talking about?
Right. The tour. Save Club Tour is the power.
Yeah, Save Club Tour. So saveclubtour.com /.
I like that one better.
Right. Okay. Cool.
And then my second part to that is, you know how like there's all those groups all over Facebook, for like, network marketing communities and stuff like that. Do you find it effective doing posts in those things? Do you get anything from that or not really?
I do. I've gotten a few signups from that. Especially again, when people haven't seen something, it's much easier to get them to pay attention. So right now, I would say yes, hitting the groups. I've gotten sales out of that. I think that's pretty effective. A year from now, I don't know. It might be harder to do it, but yes, I think right now, if you hit some of the groups, they'll say, "Oh, what's Save Club?" They'll click on it, go through the tour, and a lot of them will upgrade. So yes, go for it. Yep.
Yeah, appreciate it.
You got it. Nobody's on TikTok. Nobody's on Instagram. Nobody's in Pinterest. I mean, it's literally the world's wide open for this right now.
So we've got, I think Dr. Gamble was wanted to ask a question.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you if you got involved in 2012. Kind of taking back, I always like to hear like how people got started. Did you go after, you said you were in real estate. Did you go after your real estate market? Did you start cold? Did you work leads?
So I walked into an event with a $125,000 paycheck that month in June of 2012. I went to Dave's event, and I had a big ego because I was scared. I knew I couldn't copyright. I knew I had no email list. I knew I didn't know anybody. And honestly, I was terrified, but I wanted to learn, and I really liked the people there. I love Dave, and I just love the crowd. So I'm like, I want to be around these guys. I don't like real estate agents, and I want to be one of these guys. And so I had to learn the hard way, and I basically kind of grinded it out. But I did the same things I do today. I just reach out to people and see where they're at and see if they're happy. Everybody's in one of three categories. They're either they love what they do, in which case I'm happy for them. I congratulate them, leave them alone. They are doing something scammy and somebody tricked them into thinking that what they're doing is legit. And I try to gently tell them, like, dude, I don't think that's really a business. Like, be careful. Or they just have no idea what they're doing. And I say, do you have a plan? And they say, well, no, not really. And I'd say, well, okay, would you like to see one? Because I have a plan and I'd like to show it to you. And I just kind of just go through those hoops with people and see where they're at. And a lot of times it's, it might not be fruitful day one, but we have me and Dave have a friend, Lisa, and like she's the ultimate person at playing the long game. She'll help you and doesn't want anything from it. And then a year later, 2 years later, when you're looking for something to do, you'll hit her up because you trust her, and she's one of the most successful people in the industry because of that attitude. She just wants to help people. So I've tried to adopt that where, I'm happy for people. They don't need to join me. I just want everybody to be happy. I don't want them doing scams, and I don't want people being broke. So, I think I can either cheer on the first group and help the second two groups. I really feel that way in my heart every day. So, and I lost my email list years ago. My open rate was so bad that I just let it go. I didn't want to spend the money anymore. It was like I had like a 1.8% open rate, and I just let it go. And sometimes I regret that, but I've learned to finesse it the other way. I do have some Facebook groups that I kind of took control over, that were dormant. Eventually, Facebook will invite you to be an admin, and then I became an admin, and I took over the group. So that's not bad. But I think launching it's just so much easier than everything else, especially if it's a lower ticket program where everybody can kind of afford to join. And I think that's what we're seeing right now. We're just seeing, people are just like, yeah, I'll definitely jump on that. $20 a month? You kidding? And they just want to go for it. So, we have people with over 100 sales already in 1 week.
Well, let's
You could never do that in a traditional deal,
What's anybody else have any questions for Pete? Well, we've got him on here, so we got him maybe for 1 or 2 more minutes or 5 minutes or something like this. But like any questions about Safe Club or about how to do network marketing?
Yeah, I have one last question. And this it may be if it requires too long of an answer, maybe David, I could hit you at a later time offline on this one. But long story short, I have 500,000 emails and CSV files of names and numbers that I got from Clickly, right? And I don't know if any of you guys have heard of the Clickly thing out there, but long story short, I was able to download all those names and emails that opted into my list. And I want to see if there's a way I could market. I don't know how to do email marketing on my own, I guess is what I'm saying, but I have a bunch of opt-ins. So I don't know if there's like a simple system that you can plug all that information into, a simple setup, like a, cookie cutter kind of system out there, or yeah, just throwing that out there because I'd love to market it market this opportunity to those emails or those contacts.
I mean, I can answer that, but Dave's better at email than me. But the things have changed in this world. You got to warm up lists and stuff these days, or you'll get flagged. So you probably, with 500,000 emails, I would probably. What do you think, Dave? Take a segment of them and try to warm them up, or I mean, it would be expensive, obviously, to try to do the whole list.
Well, this is a whole other subject. So, like, first of all, if the people didn't opt into your list, the chances of them responding really well are just really low, right? And so it's not like the chance is zero, but it's pretty close to zero because you've got there. It's like if you pay for a solo ad, for example, you're marketing to somebody else's list, and paying for solo ads, you can make money doing that, but you have to learn what you're doing to even make it work. But with a list that's not warmed up, you don't know, like, for example, where did those people actually opt in originally? Maybe you do know that, right? Maybe they opted into Herbalife 10 years ago, right? But they don't know who you are. So in order to warm that list up, it's going to be like a massive process of very, 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 very slowly warming up the list. But then even if you're warming them up, as you're emailing the list in bigger and bigger chunks, those people have no idea who you are, right? And so you got to kind of like warm them up to you, warm them up to the idea of working with you, and it's going to be a really low response over a very long period of time to warm up the list. It's almost easier to just get new leads, right? And that's just being real. Purchased lists that are like, particularly if they're old, like I'll give you an example, right? I built Empower Network. A lot of you guys know that. So in Empower Network, we had 5 million leads or something that came into Empower Network. And there was a point where we were emailing there was a point where we were probably emailing 1 or 2 million people a day. Well, I didn't message that list for like years, right? I didn't message that list. And then I was like, yeah, I kind of feel like sending an email to the Empower Network people again, right? First of all, it was hard to get anybody who would even do it. And this was my list, right? So these were opt-ins of people that I had created these opt-ins, or my people had created these opt-ins. And there was, several 100,000 buyers, maybe 500,000 buyers in that list from the team that we'd built. Well, even with the buyers list, that whittled down to the time I was done to like 15,000 people that would still open emails, right? And that was a list of people that I generated, right, to give you an idea. So it went from 500,000 to 15,000, okay? But even out of that 15,000 people that is still there, they're still not the most responsive list I've ever had in my life, right? I've got to go generate new leads. And so I think that what Pete is trying to say in a gentle way is that probably won't work very well. And it might be better to focus on things that the people actually know who you are, and learning how to build influence with the target market and then market to people you actually know. Pete doesn't even really do email marketing. He just talks to people. So it is actually impressive what Pete does, because it's more traditional network marketing, but I don't know if that's what you're really kind of trying to get at, Pete, in a nice way,
I mean, the other problem is with our company, we have an email sequence that's going out. We have email accounts and stuff, we have to be very careful that if someone just blasts our opt-in list, then we could lose our ability to email people. Our stuff can go to a spam folder. It can be it could ruin the company. So on both ends, it's not just you that has a challenge. We have a challenge too, and we have filters that try to protect that. And we actually have to shut someone's account down if they just spam the heck out of our thing, because that's what people will do. People have the ability to have a bot opt in 500 times, and people can go put other people's in without their permission and stuff like that. And so the world has definitely changed. I think with this opportunity, because it really applies to everybody wants to save money. I think you can just go out there and just be yourself, and share some cool graphics, and maybe some reels are really popular, which are short videos you can put in your stories and different stuff like that. But you could also knock on your next door neighbor's house and say, hey, I wanted to share this with you. This is really cool. Now, what we're going to do eventually is, because a lot of people don't like sales, what we're going to do eventually is we're going to have like an app, and it'll have like 1 million different restaurants and amusement parks and different stuff. You'll be able to give that away to people as an introduction, and then they'll get it and they'll go out to eat and they'll get their 5% back or $10 back or whatever. And then it'll say, thanks for using, Safe Club app. How'd you like to save money on your electric bill and your phone and your internet and your heat and gas? And we won't ever ask people to switch companies, but it'll prompt them to kind of look into that. They'll opt in, just like we opted in, and then they'll see all the different things. And then what we'll do is we'll have AI, because AI is just going so fast. We're building a custom AI suite. It'll call them and it'll say, hey, Dave, this is Save Club. And then Dave will go, parlez-vous français? And it'll detect that he's speaking French or Spanish or whatever language, and it'll speak to him in that language. And then Dave will say, well, I don't really like getting phone calls. Can you text me? And then it'll text him. Or he'll say, I prefer an email. Or he'll have a conversation with the AI, and the AI will get smarter and smarter and smarter. And Dave might ask something that it hadn't heard the first day, but on the 14th phone call, it'll already be prepared for that question and everything. So what we want to do is we want to make it so that people that don't like sales can just share something, and then it'll cultivate them through the process, get the sale. That won't cost anything, by the way. And one of the reasons why is we're not really paying hardly anything. We've got this Microsoft Enterprise account, and it includes like some insane amount of all phone calls, emails, everything for next to nothing. So we're going to employ all that technology for you guys. And on top of that, we're going to send out emails and stuff on your behalf. So yeah, we're really trying to adopt, we're really trying to grab technology with the idea, with the old idea of saving money.
I mean, the key is, go on. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Yeah, sorry, I was having a delay on my end. No, I was just going to say, you guys hit the nail on the head. I'm going to forget that list and then just do what you were saying earlier with the social media post. That's probably going to be to start from scratch and do it the way you guys are suggesting.
Yeah, Dave can add you to Dave can invite you to our Facebook group. And, he might make one too, just for you guys. But in the meantime, if he doesn't, get around to it, we have lots of pictures. We can share reels. We can share. We have a Safe Club page on Facebook. You can go and just take the videos and share them and stuff like that. You don't need anybody's permission, and that's been working really well for people already. So that's what I'm seeing a lot of. And then obviously, if you have an email list, of course, use it. If you have a TikTok account with a bunch of followers, please use it. There's nobody on these things talking about this yet. So like you and I, Mike, we could get on TikTok tonight, start a live, and just start talking about it, and we'll get sales. I see people doing it every day with other companies. There was another company called Live Good that put almost 2 million people in 2 years. And that's one of the things we saw what they did. We want to try to do even better than them, because they have limitations, because it's a product. They can't sell it in China. They can't sell it here. They can't sell there. We can be everywhere. Now, if you're talking to someone in a super remote place that doesn't even have stores, they don't have any subways or malls or anything, they can still do travel. So every person on this planet can most likely benefit from our service. and a lot of people are unbanked and they can use crypto and stuff like that to be able to make money, join and things like that too. So really, the whole world's open to us. The whole world, which and this is the first time I'm really experiencing that, which I love. I want to work with everybody. Google Translate. The web page can already be translated in every language and stuff like that. So it's an exciting time, right? Before the robots take over, right, Dave?
You guys help. Yes, I said the robots are coming. They're coming. So in any case, I mean, I think that we've been on here for a while. Does anybody else have any other questions? I mean,
I gotta jump over to the other one. Is that okay, bro?
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. You can take off.
Appreciate you guys. Thanks, Dave.
Yeah, no worries. So everybody here, I think that this is probably good for tonight. So, I mean, just my challenge to you is that, if you are in Safe Club, obviously, this week there's the first cutoff date is going to be Friday for people to lock in their accounts. So you want to, obviously have your account locked in, but also, I'd go out there this week and just bring in your first 10 people, right? Bring in your first 10 people. And the best tactics are with spheres of influence that are already warmed up to you. We talked about that earlier in just like the breakdown strategy, right? Whether that's an email list. Email works really great if your email list is warmed up to you. If your email list is not very warmed up for you, email is something that's kind of like a science game, and it takes a lot of effort in order to be able to get that working properly. But if you are really warmed up with email and you have a crowd of people that respond to you well with email, email is a great strategy. Again, if you're not warmed up, email takes a long time to get warmed up. It takes a long time to build influence and rapport like that, but it's a really powerful strategy and one of the most powerful, right? I would go where you already have influence, right? That is what makes network marketing work. What makes network marketing work is you go where you have influence already and you start right there, right? If that makes sense. So, Dr. Jeff, do you have any questions? Your hand is still up. I don't know if you still had something that you wanted to say.
Oh, I just wanted to say, prior conversation about using the email list is I learned from you from Empower Network, and I'm just verifying, basically what you said, kind of a testimonial that we built our traditional holistic practice using exactly what you taught in Empower Network. We ended up building a blog. We did copywriting, but first we were terrible at it. And then eventually we found topics or subjects that we knew people were interested in. It just so happened that we did an entire series looking at what's hot. Now you can use ChatGPT. Look at ChatGPT and say, what are the trends that are hot inside of saving money or inside of network marketing or just trends, period. We happened to pick, because we were holistic, we picked essential oils and homeopathy, and we wrote over 300. I say we, my fiance wrote the articles. Now you can use ChatGPT to do it, but we wrote over 300 articles, and that put us in the top 1 or 2 in our state for our holistic business, and all of our traffic was 100% organic. And Dave and I were having a conversation the other day when I signed up for this, that we now have 7,000 clients in that database because of doing what he said, creating, basically a simple landing page where they can sign up to get more info or join our newsletter. And then we were able to keep marketing to them, and eventually people come in, and now we have 12 people who work with us. So just awesome stuff. And I think, going back to Save Club, if we can save money on all these different places, why not use the brands that people already know and put out 3 posts a day, 1 for each category, 1 for restaurants, 1 for saving retail, and 1 for travel, and say, hey, who eats at Applebee's? Who wants to save money at Applebee's? Click yes for coupons. And when they click yes, then you can send them the tour.
So that's a great idea. Anything that gets you building rapport with your target market. So there's different two different ways of going about this, right? When you're brand new. And again, this is globally for all network marketing, but more specific, we could talk about Save Club because again, I've been very clear about this. I am actually building my own company right now. It just doesn't compete with this. This is not the same thing that I'm doing, right? So this is something that's globally attractive, right? You can just save money as you're going about and building your life. But what you want to do is, number one, you have two different things. You have people that you're already connected with. That's number one, right? And then you have people that are in the target market that you're not connected with yet. That's number two. So how do you attract the global market of people that you're not connected with yet? You put out posts that are giving value on a daily basis to people that are in your target market. That builds rapport with them so that when you are ready to bring something to them, you have a group of people that are likely to respond to your offer by purchasing your products and services. And that's exactly what Dr. Jeff did in his medical practice. He built a target market of people locally by writing articles in that market and posting them on a blog for holistic medicine. And now he has a holistic medicine practice with 7,000 clients and a lot of doctors working for him, all by applying this strategy. So this works in network marketing. It works in holistic medicine. It works no matter what it is that you're doing, no matter what kind of business that you have. So I hope that this was incredibly helpful training for you tonight, and I hope that it also helped you kind of know a little bit more what to do. I hope everybody here knows what to do. My encouragement to you this week, go out and get 10 people involved. That's just like 2 people per day, very easy. Cost is not an issue with the membership. And by the end of the week, if we all did that, for example, this group of people, it's not a very big group of people, but this small group of people here would change from this to 200 people, right? And if we do that over the course of 7 days, well, that's off to a pretty good start, right? So I think that we're good tonight. Any final question? I'll take one more question if there's another question that we have from anybody on here. If you want to raise your hand, you can raise your hand. And I'm happy to bring you out. Just let me know, and if not, we'll call it good, and we'll be on here again next week. Remember, Monday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, same place, same time. We're going to have, team training. We'll break down some strategies, break down some techniques, help you get your business and your life to the next level. Anybody else? Nobody's raising their hand, so we will call it a night, and I'm thankful that you are all out here. Don't be shy. I've been emailing out actually my WhatsApp number. You guys got my Facebook. It's been in the emails that's been going out to the team. I can't always send that out in the text messages because it gives you like this much space to send out a text message. But if you just pay attention to your email, you've got my WhatsApp number in there. You've got my Facebook account in there. You can email me, and I'm happy to help you to get started and build something in a way that's appropriate for you. If any of you, for example, you're building a team and you've got 10 people and you want me to pop on a webinar, you want me to see if I can get Pete, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to help you to bring some people in and to, build the team a little bit to the next level. And this will be something good that we can build while we are preparing for, a launch I'm going to do a little bit later in the year of something else I'm going to build, right? So this is something that's great, universally applicable, and I'm looking forward to helping you all get started. Thank you for coming on board. Talk to you soon.